All right, we're going to be solving inequalities, and this is part 2. So when you solve an inequality, you solve it just as if it were an equation. So we're going to use the same algebra questions. Is the variable on the left? Yes, it is. Is it alone? No, it's not. So we're going to zero pair the 1. 3x is less than 9. Is the x alone? It's not. What math operation is the 3 doing? It's multiplying. So we're going to divide by 3. And x is going to be less than 3. So we're going to go ahead and graph. When we graph, we're going to make sure that we have a 0, a -1, and a 1, 2, 3. Now, because this is only a less than, it's going to be an open circle. And if you have written the variable first, then we can use the inequality here to check our graph. So we're looking for all the values that are less than 3. So we're going to draw our arrow pointing to the left. And if we check it using the inequality over here, we can draw our arrow, and you'll notice that this arrow is going in the same direction as the arrow on our graph, so we have it graphed correctly. All right, is the variable on the left? It is. Is it alone? It's not. So we're going to zero pair the 22. I have a positive 18, and I'm combining it with a negative 22. So what do I have more of? I have more negatives. How many more do I have? I have 4. Is the variable alone? It's not. -2 is multiplying times the y. So that means we're going to divide by -2 and divide by -2. Now, remember that we talked about the minus men. So when we have 3 negatives up here, or 3 minus men, think of one man holding the top of this symbol, and then one man holding the middle, and then another one holding the bottom, and they're going to flip it. So we have 3 minus men, so that means the inequality is going to flip. So y is going to be greater than 2. So again, we're going to graph it. We're going to make sure that our 0 is on, our -1 is on, our +1 is on, and our 2 is on. Now, this is y is greater than or equal to. So since we have a solid line, we're going to have a solid circle. We need all the numbers that are greater than 2, so that's going to be all of the numbers to the right. And of course, we can check it, because if we come over here and draw our line, create the arrow, because we have our variable term written first, the arrows are going to go in the same direction. Right? Is the variable on the left? It is. Is it alone? It's not. So we're going to zero pair the 11. I have a I have a negative 31 combined with a negative 11 is going to give me a negative 42. And then is the variable alone? It's not. 7 is multiplying the m, so the opposite of multiplying is dividing. Now notice that I only have one negative, and I have to have at least 3 negatives to flip this inequality. So because I do not have 3 minus men appearing, I am not going to flip the inequality. So the m is going to be greater than or equal to -6. I'm going to go ahead and draw my graph. I have my 0, I have my +1, I have my -1, -2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because I have my solid line here, I have my solid circle. and this is all the values of m that are greater than, so all the numbers that are greater than -6, which are going to be all the numbers to the right. And again, if I have written my variable first in my inequality, I can put in my arrow and it will be pointing in the same direction. All right. Is the variable on the left? And first it is. Is it alone? It's not. So I'm going to zero pair the 4. So x So I have a -7, and I'm going to do greater than, and now I'm going to do a +4. +5, -4 gives me a 1. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask myself, what math operation is this? Math operation is division. I'm dividing by -7, so the opposite is multiplying by -7. So these are going to cancel out, and I'm going to have x is greater than -7. Now, notice that I have my 3 minus men appearing. So this is going to flip the inequality. So it's going to be x is less than -7. So we're going to go ahead and put our 0, our 1, our -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is no solid line, so it's an open circle. And then we're going to draw our arrow. And notice that if our variable is drawn first, our arrow will be going in the same direction. Now, we want to do a couple of checks on these problems, so let's go back through and check. I'm going to pick -14 because -14 would be out here underneath this arrow. So so we have x divided by -7 plus 4 is greater than 5. So we're going to check to see if we have the arrow going in the right direction. -14 divided by -7 plus 4 is greater than 5. -14 divided by -7 is +2. 2 plus 4 is greater than 5. 6 is greater than 5. So we've just checked to make sure that our arrow is drawn in the right direction. So let's go back up, and we also want to check number 3. So we would have any number that we want to choose. So I'm going to go ahead and choose +1. So 7m plus 11 is greater than or equal to -31. So 7 times 1 plus 11 is greater than or equal to -31. 7 plus 11 is greater than or equal to -31. 18 is greater than or equal to -31. So I know that my arrow is going in the right direction. Let's go back up here and let's check number 2. So I'm going to choose 3 because 3 would be underneath the arrow. So we're going to do -2y plus 22 is less than or equal to 18. Notice that I am writing the original equation every time, and then I'm doing my substitution. -2 times 3 plus 22 is less than or equal to 18. This is going to be -6 plus 22 is less than or equal to 18. Notice that I'm just doing PEMDAS. So this is going to be 16 is less than or equal to 18. That's true, so I know that that one is right. And then the last one that we're going to check, 3x plus 1 is less than 10. And I can choose any number over here. So I'm going to go ahead and choose 0. That'll be an easy one. 3 times 0 plus 1 is less than 10. 0 plus 1 is less than 10. And 1 is less than 10. So you should be able to go back and use PEMDAS to check each of your inequalities that you have graphed. And now you know how to do inequalities.